Napoli fans around the world, welcome to Napoli Talk. Now, I know I'm not wearing my Napoli jersey, but that's just because Napoli have witnessed or played in a tennis game. That's why I'm wearing my tennis jersey. Guys, 6-1 against Ajax, away from home, at the Cruijff Arena. It's absolutely crazy what this Napoli team is doing. I can hardly believe it. I could not have imagined a few hours ago that I would be coming here today speaking to you guys about a 6-1 win away from home at Ajax. It's one of their biggest defeats in their history. I think the biggest since the 1960s, 60 years. This is a team that is constantly playing European football. They're constantly the best team in the Netherlands, or if not the best team, number 2, at most number 3. This is a team that plays against Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Real Madrid every single year, and they've never lost this bad in 60 years, guys. Napoli shows up. Okay, you win 4-1 against Liverpool, then you win 3-0 against Rangers after Rangers got that red card, but you think surely the third time we would get a bit more of a normal scoreline. Instead, no, we get the biggest scoreline in our own history in Europe. It's just something super historic what we've seen right now, and this team is playing great. This is probably the best moment that Napoli has ever had. I don't think we can actually trace back at any point in history a time when we've been so dominant in terms of result after result after result, unbeaten now in over 10 games, 3 out of 3 in the Champions League, and not just wins but destroying teams. I can't remember a time when we've had 10 or 11 games that we've been this dominant in our history. So this is really an incredible time to be a Napoli fan, and thank you guys for joining the stream. There's a lot of you that are watching. Smash that like button because we're going to be analyzing every single moment of this game. We're going to have screenshots of all the key tactical bits of this game. We're going to look back at the goals. We're going to look at player ratings. We're going to do a bunch of stuff. It's going to be great. So just make sure that you are smashing that like button so that I know that you're liking this, and make sure you're subscribing in case you're not subscribed. There's not a lot of you that's not subscribed that watch my stuff, but hey, you might be out there. So before I go into all that stuff, this is the opportunity for you guys to have your say on this game. This is why I have the chat always on and why I read every single one or most of your comments, because this is a platform for you guys. And I'm sure you guys are super excited about what we just witnessed. So let's see what you guys are saying. So Luca De Rosa says, just at halftime, but geez, this Napoli team seems like a dream. And that was when Napoli was winning 3-1. We ended up winning 6-1. Anthony Navarro says, this Napoli is making me feel something. Spalletti's Napoli gives me hope, as well as a familiar feeling I've had when watching Mazzarri and Sarri's Napoli. I think this year, this team has a little bit of both elements. We've got that beautiful football element that Sarri gave us, and then we've got the cynical, the counter-attacking element that Mazzarri had, and we have a lot of really young players, really inexperienced players. I'm thinking of Simeone, I'm thinking of Kim, even Rahmani. It's their first time playing the Champions League, and yet these guys, and Raspadori, and yet these guys are out there enjoying themselves the same way that Cavani and Lavezzi did a few years ago. So yeah, I can totally relate to that, Anthony. Lewis C says, wow, I am shocked this Napoli is really back to the 1980 days. I really hope so. Zach Padugan is saying, the best part about this is not letting up after halftime and still pushing for more goals. Great mentality, not content with only a 3-1 win. And I think that's huge. I don't think we had that sort of Napoli ever. I mean, yes, we've had other games where we won 6-1 here and there. I can remember a few against Bologna, a few against Cagliari, a few against Genoa in recent years. But we're talking about playing against a team like Ajax. We're talking about playing against teams like Liverpool, and we just kept going, and we didn't, our legs are not trembling anymore. When we used to have the so-called big players in this team, the Insignes, the Mertens, the Koulibalys, they would also win big on some games, but on the games that really mattered, their legs started to tremble. And these guys are just so fearless. Kim, Raspadori, Simeone, they are fearless people. And that's what I really, really like about this team. Luca De Rosa is saying, kudos to Inter as well. They beat Barcelona 1-0. That's why these streets have been awfully quiet today. As you guys know, I'm in Barcelona. Guys, only half of you have been smashing that like button. So if you're in the wrong half, make sure you get on the right half, all right? Sufus, especially if you then start commenting on the chat. Danny Bomb 2.0 says, Anguissa is just everywhere. I love that player. Man, Anguissa, sometimes, I open the fridge, he's there. Go inside my bedroom and he's there. I'm like, oh man, Anguissa, come on. He's just everywhere, just find him everywhere. He's a great player, and he's got so much energy. It's incredible. Timo Seb Gretz says, as a Dutch guy surrounded by only Ajax fans, this is incredible. What a performance from Napoli here. Forza Napoli sempre. So Timo, obviously not an Ajax fan, I guess. He must be loving it. He's got all the bragging rights at school or at uni or the office, wherever this guy is. But it's so nice being surrounded by rival fans and you beat your rival team. That's one of the nicest things about actually living away from where you support your team, is that actually when you do win, you're the guy that won and no one else, right? Obviously, when you do lose, it's a little worse. Mass says, the new guys are young, fast, and hungry. Let's see. Anthony G says, I don't know, man. Koulibaly was pretty legit. If we had the same team and Insigne, I think we would be the same team as in the past. I think having him out was so key. So, yeah, the whole Koulibaly, Insigne, Mertens, guys, I don't think anyone can say that they're bad players. They're not. But, statistically speaking, we didn't reap many rewards with those guys. And I'm not saying that we will with the new guys, but I think after 5, 6, 7, 8 years, 9 years even for some of them, I think it was the right call to say, hey guys, you had your chance. We got to try something else. Might not necessarily mean that these are better player on paper, but maybe they just fit this environment, this team. They have a bit more hunger. They have a bit more energy. They're maybe less injury prone, whatever the case may be. I personally think it's that they are more hungry. They are less traumatized by the losses in the past that maybe Insigne, Mertens, and Koulibaly had. And these guys are fearless. They're showing it. They're so naive at times. It's beautiful. How about them Italian teams today, says Maximus, again referring to Inter. Lorenzo Libuti says Napoli replacing Roger Federer with that 6-1 win. Yeah, incredible. Fabrizio Landria with a heart. Ciao Fabrizio. Alessandro Curic says Zanoli is the future. Let's see. He actually played pretty well today. I really like Zanoli going forward. I think he's got this great sense of how to attack the space. He's pretty good at crossing, finding the right person. I'm a little worried about him defensively, but who knows how much he's improved recently. Lewis C says, honestly, the new blood is adjusting incredibly. I don't think any European team with players that adjusted within games like Napoli's new players have. Yeah, obviously you've got a few examples of extraterrestrial players like Haaland at Man City. He's pretty young, scoring goals for fun. This guy is just not human. He's, I think, a class of his own. But in terms with Haaland, he had to just enter into an already existing system with superstars. You've got Kevin De Bruyne with the assists. I think even I could score if Kevin De Bruyne gave me those assists, and I've got a torn ACL. So I think, I'm not to take anything away from Haaland, but I think what instead the players that Napoli brought have done is that they've created their own team. There's so many of them. None of them came into already an existing team and just benefited from the players around them. They're all part of this new system. They're all part of this new team, and they did it so well. So I 100% agree with you. Daniel Bowen, thank you, my man, for the €10 donation. Thank you for supporting. the channel. You must be hyped, man. Dom started to feel sorry for everyone around me. 6 pallone, bro. Bro, Daniel, if you are at the game, let me know, because, I mean, this guy goes to so many away games. He's a diehard fan. I respect that so much. And yeah, let me know if you were at the game. Let me know what the vibe was after the first goal. But I mean, I could only hear Napoli fans throughout the game, and obviously we were probably the only ones there by the end of it, because all the Ajax fans started leaving super early. Matteo Casale also in the house. What up? Cautious excitement right now. Over the moon though. Yeah, I mean, I'm struggling to keep my excitement in. You guys know, those of you that follow this channel know that I try to keep a lid on the excitement. I could go out and make some crazy reaction videos, but I just try to keep it, a little bit controlled, because I think we need that in this environment. We can get carried away so easily in Naples, and we've been hurt a few times. So I think Matteo's got the right attitude, excitement but cautiousness, right? Let's keep it, controlled. Happy but controlled. Alex says, I love your analysis. Napoli are a joy to watch at the moment. Man, I love you guys. I love your comments. Every comment that I read is always so insightful. And by the way, I don't screen anything. These comments come in way too fast for me to be speaking and reading before I speak at the same time. So I literally just speak, look to the right, the first name that I just happen to see, I just read that comment. So there's no screening that happens, there's no favoritism, there's no nothing. I just read random comments, and every time they always just hit the spot. You guys are, following up on what each one of you is saying. It's beautiful. I love this chat. It's like the best thing, the best feature ever. And you guys are an amazing part of my Napoli experience as well. Azzurino says, we could sub on our young talents in Champions League in Amsterdam because our guys smoked more than the rest of the city. That's a really good. See, that's a brilliant comment. I had no idea that was going in that direction, but that was great. I think with the corner of my eye, I saw Vincenzo Bertillo say something about that, and only now am I picking up the joke, but he said it like way earlier in the chat, and then I lost the comment, and so I didn't say it anymore. She says, Ndombele was incredible when he came on. Yeah, Ndombele maybe had his best game so far. I mean, you could tell in the other games that he's smart. He tries to do really smart things. He tries to do things that are a little out of the box. He tries to do things that only a player that has previously done them and done them correctly would then try again to do. It's just that it wasn't coming off for him. He wasn't maybe fit enough. He wasn't maybe, in the groove with the teammates enough. But now I think he's also a bit lighter. I can see from the way he runs, the way he looks, that he's, I think, lost a few kilos, and it's paying off, right? A bit like how Lobotka lost a few kilos at the beginning of last year and transformed as a player. I think that's massive. And maybe that's one of my biggest regrets with Petagna, is the fact that he just always stayed big and never lost a few kilos. I wonder what kind of player he would have been if he went on a diet. But yeah, let's not fat shame on this channel. Daniel Bowen says, it, bro, was there. It was a somber stadium after the third. Bob Marley couldn't cheer them up. I love that. They were playing Three Little Birds in between the first and second half, but yeah, I don't think anybody was enjoying that. Reese Nash says, Ndombele and Anguissa have such good link up. Yeah, and I've noticed that Ndombele links up with the strikers quite well. Whether that be Raspadori, but especially Simeone. I think they got quite a good link, and we saw that in one of the goals. Vesavio says, Inter won against Barcelona. Imagine celebrating a 1-0 win, small club. I love that. You know who else scored one goal? Ajax. But we scored 6, guys. I mean, the fact that Ajax scored first, it's not like they just got a consolation goal. No, they scored first, and it was all uphill from there for Napoli, and we still managed to do extremely well. So yeah, I'm incredibly proud of this team. It's not the first time they come from behind, and yeah, they just kept going, It reminds me a little bit of, speaking of Holland and Ajax and all this, it kind of reminds me of, that Spain-Holland game, Spain-Netherlands back in the 2010 World Cup, with Robin van Persie with that diving header. Same sort of vibe. Spain scored first, and then the Netherlands scored 5 goals, and you just think, what's going on? And they don't stop, and each goal is more beautiful than the other one. That's the kind of vibe that we got today, except this time it wasn't so lucky for the Dutch fans. Football is life says, I love this Naples. I've been supporting it for a while. I knew we would grow to become a great team in due time. Football is in the Napoli DNA. Forza ragazzi. Beautiful message, man. And thank you so much for the $5 donation, man. Oliveira equals maestro, says Rafaez. Yeah, Oliveira, what a game. He comes on every once in a while to play Champions League games, puts in a banger of a performance, and then he gets put on the bench again in the Serie A. Beautiful, beautiful. If it works, right? You know, everyone, as long as everyone's happy. I'm sure Oliveira's happy. I'm sure, you know, he's got a 5-year contract, before whatever the case may be. He knows he doesn't need to be playing every single game right now at the start of his Napoli adventure. I think this is, you know, still a transition time between him and Mario Rui. Mario Rui is also playing extremely well. I think he knows he's here for the next few years, and he's happy to just play few games here and there for now, as long as those games are important, right? As long as those games give him satisfaction, as long as those games give him international exposure, and that's exactly the case because he played against Liverpool, he's playing now against Ajax, so I'm sure he's happy even though he hasn't played too many minutes altogether. Guys, all right, beautiful comments so far. I can feel the excitement, apart from the few of you that haven't quite liked the video, which I don't know why. I don't know why, guys. I mean, you win 6-1, you're happy. Just keep the good times rolling, right? Just keep smashing that like button. We've covered a little bit of the comments, right? We talked about how this was a bit of a tennis game, 6-1. Now, guys, we got to talk about the analysis. We got to talk about what happened during that game, and that will lead us into the player ratings in a few minutes. So let's talk about this, right? I mean, the game immediately starts off with Napoli on the front foot. Lobotka has a huge chance here to go for goal. He's scored a few similar goals like this in recent times. The last game of last season, the first game of this season, where he just runs through the middle. Everybody expects him to pass it, and then he just shoots. I think this time he's a little off-centered from where he's more comfortable shooting, so instead he decides to pass it to Raspadori, and Raspadori goes just wide, and it's a difficult shot to take. I think maybe he should have been hitting the target there, but, you know, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't really matter. Let me get some comments here and there, because the chat is buzzing, and I do want to keep up with the comments as well. Claudine says, they say Kvara is okay, nothing to be concerned about. Cool, that's good to know. Sal De Brita says, haven't had a chance to catch your lives recently. Glad to have the time to enjoy your analysis and input, especially during this run of form for Napoli. I missed you, Sal. I missed you, man. Where were you? I'm kidding. I'm sure you had other stuff to do, and I'm sure you were watching these lives in replay. And guys, if you are watching in replay, then do drop a comment, because I do find the time eventually to get back to all you guys. And just like how I like the comments right now, I really like the ones that you guys post after the video as well. I think they're super insightful. So, and they give me ideas for the next lives and all that stuff. Anyways, so actually it's Ajax within 10 minutes that score the first goal. A really nice goal, actually. I mean, they play so well in tight spaces. And this is a very, very similar goal to the one that Kvara scores in this exact same spot in the second half, in the way that they set up with the 1-2. Except this time, you know, we anticipate the fact that the ball is going to go back to the player who gave it off. And so we already have Rahmani and Kim further up, which means, you know, it's more difficult for that player to take on a shot. What does that player do? He pulls the ball back, and then Ajax score through a deflected effort. Now, the one thing that I think we make a mistake on here is the fact that both Rahmani and Di Lorenzo commit to the same player. You can see the circle there in the middle of the screen. That's 2 players in there. I know it seems like it's just 1 player, but if you zoom in, it's 2 players. They just have the exact same movement that they did, and you know, it's a bit obviously wasteful, right? If one of them stayed back, maybe Ajax would have never scored that first goal. But maybe if Ajax never scored that first goal, maybe we wouldn't have scored 6 later on, right? Everything is a cause of what happened in the past. So it's not like we would have won 6-0. Maybe it would have been a completely different game altogether. So yeah, let's go back to some of the comments before I go back to the analysis. Ebi C. Jordovic says, I think he's a bit too clumsy and selfish, complains a bit too much. Don't get me wrong, he is good, but not worth 100 mil. Not sure who he's talking about, but might it be Lozano? Might it be... I don't know. Let me know, Ebbe, who you're talking about. Tom Cowley says, we've got quality, depth, fearlessness, and togetherness. If we can keep our cool, the sky is the limit. Love that. He's talking about Osimhen, says Azzurrinos. Yeah, I mean, a little clumsy. And I think the thing about Osimhen is that he resolves games, right? He's had so many match winners. The one thing he hasn't done is match winners in really important games. In Champions League games, in games that are for the top 5-6 positions. He's kind of not played that well in those kind of games. And I think when we have Osimhen, we kind of just tend to launch the ball forward and hope for the best. You know, the tactic is Osimhen and inshallah. When we have Raspadori or when we have Simeone, I think because we can't take advantage of that pace, we have to rely more on quick passing. And that's, I think, our core strength, movement and quick passing. And, it just brings out the best in everybody else. Not to say that Osimhen is a bad player. I think that he's an amazing player. It's that we're using him badly, or we're using his biggest strength too much, whereas we should, involve him with the rest of the team's strength and use his biggest strength here and there. We need to switch things up every once in a while. Anyways, Ajax was making it super difficult for us in the first, let's say, 20 minutes. 15-20 minutes, because they played man against man, especially when they scored. Everyone was super marked. Now, how do you win a game when you're super marked? Well, there's 3 or 4 different ways. When you have the ball, you got to make quick passes, you got to make good movement, and you got to win your individual battles. And we see this with all the goals that we score. When you don't have the ball, you need to press super hard, right? Because those teams, that are just always following you around man to man, they're running a lot. They're a bit less lucid on the ball at times, and they can lose the ball. And, Ajax, I don't think, is used to teams coming at them this high up the field. You can see here, we've got 3 players on one Ajax defender. He loses the ball, and Kvara has a shot on goal, which goes just wide, right? But those are literally the 4 things you need to do. 3 when you have the ball, and this 1 thing when you have the ball. That's how you're gonna have the maximum chances of scoring a goal. Guys, by the way, if you like this analysis, if you like these insights, if you like chatting with other people, and you're not yet subscribed to the channel, what are you doing, bro? And if you haven't liked this video, smash that like button. All right, cool. I don't have, nothing against guys that don't smash the like button, but I don't know, man. I don't know, dodgy life decisions right there. Anyways, now we get to Napoli's goal, right? And this is what I talk about, movement and quick passing. This is all one-touch football, really good movement, and it's nothing too complex, but also not too basic, right? It's not the most obvious passes. It's not backwards passes. It's not sideways passes. No, everything is a forward pass, right? And everything has a logic behind it. So you can see here, Oliveira has the ball, right? He doesn't pass it all the way back to Kim, they do that every once in a while. But then, in one moment of the game, right, you can see there's actually an Ajax player that is running towards Kim, right? The one that's in between Oliveira and Zielinski, the first light blue line. He's running, in your screen, he's running like that direction, right? That's a signal for Oliveira that this player is going to go and mark Kim, and he's freeing, let's say, Zielinski, right? that means Zielinski has a bit more time on the ball. There's a bit less pressure into getting that pass right for Zielinski. You can imagine there's a bit more pressure if that player is closer to Zielinski. Give it to Zielinski. Zielinski then has the space and time to give it first time to Kvara. Kvara then gives it first time to Oliveira, who continues his run. That's what I mean, guys. Picking the moment, quick pass and go. And, I think it takes a lot of... this seems stupid, but it takes a lot of intuition to do this at the right time. I think they chose the time right. They chose a time when one guy was kind of running in the opposite direction to where then the ball actually needs to go. So this is what I love about these analysis, guys, and maybe you guys love this too. But when you actually take a screenshot and you pause the game, you can actually see the split-second decisions that the players make that you might miss in real time. Mike Xstat says, I doubted Rahmani, I was wrong. I doubted Kim, I was wrong. I doubted Raspadori, I was wrong. Maybe I should doubt myself. That's hilarious, man. And thank you for the $5 donation. That cracked me up. I still doubt Lozano, he says. Man, you need to, I think, really, really doubt Lozano to make things work for him. No, I'm kidding. Lozano had an amazing game today. Amazing. He was everywhere. Jesse says, yes, this run has been great, but we seriously need depth for the Lobotka role. True, but Dem is coming back, and maybe he can fill that gap. Kim is the best center back in Serie A, says Vincenzo, and I think I would agree with that at the moment. I mean, he did win best Serie A defender in September. Anthony says, I think for January we need a backup Lobotka, Di Lorenzo, and Kvara. Yeah, the Di Lorenzo and Kvara one, I think especially. Lobotka, I think maybe, I don't know, let's see how Gaetano, let's see how Dem play this year, because we haven't even seen that yet. Let's give him at least a chance. So the guys, anyways, moving on to our first goal. There's 6 goals that we still need to talk about. Beautiful pass by Oliveira and an even more beautiful run by Raspadori in behind Blind, and this header is unreal from Raspadori, like unreal. Beautiful header. It's Raspadori is starting to score in all different ways. He's adding things to his repertoire, which is really nice to see. He's growing. He's got movement. He's got shots from long distance, headers. He's really turning into a nice, complete player, and he's already, I think, paid off a good chunk of that 35 million that we paid for him. Let's say he's already paid off 10 million of that. All right, he's got like 30% already. Yeah, you know what? That's assured. He was good value for money, and I'm sure he's gonna pay off that other 25 that's left in the next few months. Azzurrinos with a €5 donation. You guys are being extremely kind to me today. Thank you so much for the Azzurrinos, two Azzurrinos. Just for you, man. Love that you put so much of your time and energy for us, and forza Napoli sempre. Guys, sorry, I got a cough. That's what happens when you speak so much, guys, and I just get so emotional with these beautiful messages. No, guys, I mean, I love doing this. I love watching Napoli games now, also because I get to do a little bit of this. Obviously, I want to make more videos. I love the videos that are not live reactions. I love also the ones where I get to analyze a specific player, or I get to analyze a rivalry between teams. I have so many different ideas in my head. Guys, I have no time for that, and I mean that. I really, really mean that. I have no time. I finished class today at 9 p.m. I did from 9 to 9 p.m. I got in. The game started at 9 p.m. I'm like a Swiss clock right now. I'm just going everything super efficient. This live is gonna end probably at midnight and a half. I've got gym tomorrow at 6 in the morning, and then class again at 9. It's crazy. So I wish I had more time to do videos. I just don't, but it's not because I don't love you guys. Anyways, Dolls MJ says he gives a $4.99 donation. Doesn't say anything, so I'm just gonna say thank you. If you want to say something, Dolls MJ, then let me know. I'm gonna buy a Raspadori shirt this week, says Sufus Koba. Brilliant, man. Go ahead. buy Napoli shirts. All of you, go buy Napoli shirts. That's how we buy more players. Get a review says there was some guy in your comments saying you don't put in enough work. You do, and we love. Yeah, I mean, some guy on Instagram said I didn't post on the Instagram, which is more like of a meme thing. But guys, like even the Instagram. Okay, if I post a meme, that's not gonna take too much time apart from like mentally thinking about what meme to put. But it's still like half an hour. But if I were to do like proper graphics, because I don't know how to do graphics, they take me like 2 hours. So it's just, I don't always have that sort of time. Anyways, let's move on to the Napoli stuff, right? That's what you guys are here for, not to know about my schedule. You guys are here to know about Napoli. We had so many chances in this game, guys. So many chances. Lozano was devastating today. Completely devastating. He went past the Ajax left back, did him dirty. Beautiful cross. Lozano had 2 or 3 beautiful crosses today, and no one scored from them. And Kvara, he gets to the ball. He gets to the ball. I think the defender deflects it, and then he follows up, hits the goalkeeper from close range, doesn't score. All that stuff, But I mean, what I really liked there was Lozano beating his man in a really not obvious way and finding an amazing pass. So I think Lozano's growing a lot, and I think then this image here is there's 2 things that are key to this game. Are the way we win, we won a lot of duels, but also how tactically organized we were, guys. I mean, this is a wide open game at this point. We're attacking, they're attacking, we're attacking, they're attacking, left, right, middle, center, top, bottom. The ball's going everywhere, and yet the Napoli defense and Napoli midfield are always just in a perfect situation. You could screenshot them at any point in time, and they're always tight in the middle. And that's football 101. You want to defend tight and attack large. Right, you want to make as much space as possible. You want to make the field as big as possible for you when you attack, and you want to make the field as little as possible for you when you defend. Right, you don't want anyone to go down the middle. You can let them have the sides. They can put in a million different crosses. If you've got people in the middle, you're getting the ball, right? And that's the key there. And sometimes teams, they stretch. There's gaps, and it creates gaps in the middle, and teams exploit it. Napoli are sticking to really basic concepts of football this year. Super tight, amazing stuff. And I love this one. I love this photo with Kvara running away with the ball and the Ajax player hitting the referee. This is the best thing. I made a meme out of this already. So go follow official Napoli Talk on Instagram, because I already posted a meme about this. Smash a like button there as well, because it's funny. It's funny, okay? And then we get the second goal, the goal that really changes the game, because then it's 2-1, short corner. No one picks up Kvara. Weird. You've got Zielinski and Kvara take, like, I'm just trying to put myself in the head of a Ajax player. You see Napoli's 2 most technically gifted players, Kvara and Zielinski, on the ball with a corner, and there's no one around them. I mean, the closest player for Ajax is within their own box, which is, I think, absurd, because when you do have a player like Kvara on the ball, he can do whatever he wants, right? So yeah, a bit dodgy defending. Now some of you might say, oh, but you just said 5 minutes ago that you got to stay tight. I mean, yes, when the ball is in movement, right? But when it's a corner and you have the opportunity to block the ball before, and there's no movement, you can just block it from the ball being still pretty much, then yeah, put your player close to the corner flag, right? Like 10 yards away from the corner flag. Don't give them the opportunity to do that. But hey, they did that, so cool. I hope you guys got that, because it's a bit counterintuitive to what I said before, but different scenarios. One scenario is when you're transitioning, and one scenario is like, okay, the defense is you can already have a group of players that are like set and in stone, and then you can just, one player kind of comes in and cuts the cross. But when you transition, which was the previous slide, yeah, keep everybody, super tight. Whatever. I'm just confusing you guys now, so I'm gonna go on. Yeah, again, Lozano, beautiful crosses here. Beautiful cross to Zielinski. He hits it towards the keeper. He should have done better. Keeper puts it back in play. Anguissa follows up and he hits it over. So, I mean, Napoli here, they're winning 2-1, but it could have been 3 or 4 by now. And then this is how we defend, right? We have so many people in the box. Again, super tight. Everyone that needs to be marked is marked. Players in the box, players outside the box. And yeah, I mean, that's the way to go forward. The only possible danger there is Blind on the far left-hand side for Ajax. But out of every Ajax player there, that's probably the least likely place where you're going to concede a goal, right? It's better to defend the guy centrally than the guy all the way to the other side. Even though a few times, obviously, teams do score from that. We've had that happen a few times against us, or, even Italy, the way England scored in the Euro final was a bit like that. So, you can score from any position in the field. It's just about maximizing your chances of not conceding a goal. Right, now, the second most important thing of how Napoli play, apart from being super defensively tight, is the fact that we win every single duel from like the 20th minute onwards, right? Whether that be them fouling us or us winning the ball cleanly and getting away with it. And we can see here with the third goal. So we see Lobotka wins a header. Then we see Anguissa win the header and pass. And every time we win the header, it goes in the general direction of going forward towards one of the other Napoli players. So it's not just winning the ball, but it's being accurate in the way that we pass the ball forward, right? It's not just winning it and the ball just goes back up towards you or random places. No, it's, you're progressing as you're winning the ball. So we win the first ball, we win the second ball. Raspadori wins the third ball. And the really interesting thing here is that all of us saw this huge gap where Zielinski could exploit to score the third goal. And that gap is created by the wingers on the side, keeping the Ajax right and left back super preoccupied. So remember what we said, guys. Remember what we said 10 minutes ago, that when you are in transition as a defensive team, as a defensive block, right? When you're in transition, you want to keep the center tight, super tight. Ajax do the complete opposite. Ajax should have literally just let go of Kvara and Lozano. The right back and left back should have gone central, squeezed in, and Zielinski would have had to then play the ball wide. But it's much better to play the ball wide than have some guy run straight down the middle, right? So really, Ajax were they were so preoccupied with Kvara that they were just missing the basics of football. Like, this is football 101. It's defending 101, guys, about not letting the middle get too wide. Guys, I see so many people, 191 of you that are on the live right now and only 150 likes. So something's a little off with about 40 of you. I don't know, guys. I mean, I know it's tempting to watch everything in big screen and not press the like button, but I highly encourage you guys to minimize your screen and smash that like button, subscribe, all that nice stuff, right? I'm going to read some comments before I go on with the analysis, because this is a nice little slide that is kind of self-explanatory, so I can do some talking while you guys read what's going on for anyone that joins. Let's see. Ebe says, he's a good striker, don't get me wrong. He is good with crosses, but he has only scored 2 goals this season. I'm not sure who Ebe is talking about, because remember, guys, I just read random comments, so you guys got to give me a little bit of context about who you're talking about when you say comments, because, again, I don't know what you're talking about. Let's see. Let's go to some other comments. Brian Wood says, I saw someone on Twitter say Ajax goalie must have fallen off his dragon because he was definitely not 100% in the game. Made me laugh. Game of Thrones. Guys, no spoilers. No spoilers. I mean, I know Game of Thrones is like super old, but... And I know the guy looked like Jon Snow, but a blonde kind of Jon Snow. But if it's about the new show, the House of Dragons, and not Game of Thrones, then I haven't watched it yet, so don't spoil it, guys. Mike Xstat says, if someone buys a Lozano shirt, please tag me and remind me to doubt myself. Tris says, Forza Napoli sempre da Costa Rica. Good job, Dom, and all the great videos. Been watching from the early days. So nice to hear when people have been OGs, man, and they still follow. If you still follow, you're still finding something useful in this. And I always worry if it ever gets, I don't know, repetitive or something, but clearly not. So it's really good to see so many of you guys return. Mike Xdad, if you don't like, Mike Xdad doubts you with a $2 donation. All right, Mike. No, but thank you, man. Yeah, thanks for donating so much, guys. I really appreciate that. Mean says, I wonder how a 4-2-2-2 would work with Raspa and Osimhen. We could capitalize from having a striker to support the build-up game and serving Ossi, who would use his space and physicality. Again, man, man, and your name's Mean. When you attack, you want to be wide. You want to go wide, right? You want, obviously, sometimes the wingers to come central, but that's only when you're playing the ball centrally to a striker and you need someone there for him to lay the ball off to, right? But when you are transitioning, so when you are going and attacking and you're running with speed, you want to stay wide because it forces teams to make this mistake, which is the one that Ajax did here, because they spread themselves wide, and then you have these corridors, these channels down the middle that you can exploit, and you can do that with really fast players. Right, let's go on to the second half. You'd think at this point it's 3-1, Ajax are going to come out and play, they're going to be aggressive, they're going to not make mistakes, they're going to be intimidated, they're going to just come out and really do their thing. And instead, they come out and they make really bad passes from the back. Really dubious bit of goalkeeping from Ajax. Anguissa there, super alert. I mean, look at the guy who's meant to be receiving the ball here. He doesn't seem at all prepared to receive the ball. And then you've got Anguissa lurking in the middle or lurking behind them, right? He gets the ball, a little bit of a feint, a little bit of a dummy, sends the guy to the hot dog stand, and plays the ball to Raspadori, and Raspadori with a cool, calm finish around the defender, around the goalkeeper, slots it in for that 2-1. Daniel Nervosa says, all our strikers are now scoring when we play a different style with them, better than last year where we couldn't score with the bulldozer. Yeah, I mean, we've got players scoring for fun. The only player that's not scoring is Lozano at the moment, but, for me, it's not even a problem. Because actually, when other players will go out of form, maybe that's when Lozano picks up form and he'll be the one carrying the team, right? So I mentioned it in one of the other videos. I'm actually super worried when we have too many players all in form at the same time, because I'd rather win 15 games 1-0 each time instead of win 4 games 6-0. And then 4 games, everybody who was on form loses their form, and we don't win, right? Whereas if you've got a few in form, a few out of form, and they sort of just undulate between each other, then as a whole, you can maybe keep things up, right? It's kind of like when in stocks you diversify your portfolio, right? It's because some will go up, some will go down, and you hope that on average everything kind of keeps afloat, right? Whereas if everything is up, there's a chance that everything will go down at the same time as well, right? So, to bring in some things from outside into this, right? Because, that's life. Everything is kind of the same no matter how you apply it. Right, without getting too philosophical here. Jaden says, I like Osimhen. I think the only problem he has is that sometimes the team gets way too reliant on him to the point where he is the only one up front. If we give him more service, he would benefit. Yeah, that's one of the things about Osimhen. It's our tactic when he plays, because he is so good, because he is so fast, is Osimhen and inshallah. But, I mean, the guy needs help, right? The guy needs support as well. And we're just much more... it's just much more intuitive to go and support Raspadori or Simeone than it is to support Osimhen, because we just think Osimhen can do it by himself, but the reality is he can't, and everybody needs support. Anyways, we get to now the fifth goal, and I love this goal. Jack gives it to Kvara. 1-2 again with Jack between him and Kvara. And unlike Ajax's first goal, we see that Ajax are super slow to react, actually. They don't cover Kvara nearly as well as how Napoli covered the Ajax player. Now, Napoli covered the Ajax player in the Ajax goal a little too much because they did it with two players. But they anticipated that move and they blocked his line of sight on goal, whereas no one here blocked Kvara's line of sight on goal. And Kvara was able to slot it past the goalkeeper, right? So, I mean, if you could combine the two aspects together, where, with Ajax, it was only one player that really followed Kvara, but at Napoli, at least they were both better positioned. If it was just the one, whatever, I'm confusing you guys. I'm going to stop talking about that. But anyways, Kvara scores, because I feel like I confuse you guys sometimes. Kvara scores. It's 5-1 at this point, right? There's so many goals. I can't keep up. And here Rahmani was about to score. Rahmani, at all people. Azzurino says, respect to you, Dom, because I remembered you saying at the end of last season we would improve the most when our wingers get into form, and now look at us. Yeah, and last year, guys, I was a big Insigne hater. And as soon as Kvara came onto the radar, like in April, guys, like before we signed him, I said, guys, he's going to be an improvement. And I made a video, but I never make transfer videos. Like, never. I made one on Osimhen, one on Kvara, one on Jesus, and one on a player that never arrived, Carbonic. I think he went to Brighton or something. Because that player never arrived, I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to make transfer videos anymore. I don't want to give out false information to people. Kvara wasn't official, so it could have been false information. Technically, it could have never happened. But I was just so excited about this player. Like, I could just tell he was going to be so good, and so I made the video. But yeah, I mean, I think I had a few good predictions. I said that Raspadori was going to give us a little bit of grinta, a little bit of Katsima. I talked about Kvara. I talked about how actually, letting go of Mertens and Insigne is maybe not as bad as people are saying it is, because Insigne wasn't producing that much for us anymore. So anything would have been an upgrade. Literally, like any winger would have been an upgrade, because Insigne had 2 goals last season from open play and missed a few penalties even. So you couldn't even rely on him for that. And Mertens just wasn't really playing. So kind of anything would have been an upgrade as well in that regard. Anything that would have guaranteed us having some guy that's fit enough to start if Osimhen gets injured, I think Raspadori, for example, can start 5, 6, 7 games in a row. Mertens could have never done that last season. So we have a situation now where Osimhen is injured. If we still had Osimhen and not Raspadori, and let's say we didn't even have Simeone, we would have been pretty much screwed, because we wouldn't have been able to play Mertens all this time, right? So I'm not saying Raspadori is better than Mertens. I'm just saying he's, at this point in time, with Mertens being 35, Raspadori is more functional, and we do have more depth. The only thing that has really, truly surprised me is Kim, because I did not expect us to be replacing Koulibaly this well. Even Meret, actually. If you guys look at my transfer video, it's still out there. I didn't delete anything. All my videos are out. If you look at my transfer video for the summer, I said, guys, I know you guys are all hating on Meret, and yes, he has to improve, but look at what happened to Donnarumma last season when he was going back and forth between him and Navas at PSG. Even a player like Donnarumma started making mistakes. We saw the one against Real Madrid that cost them the Champions League, right? So, goalkeepers, it's a very, very sensitive position, and only when you give them your full and complete trust can you actually see what their level is, right? And Meret is kind of proving that this season. So I mean, I don't want to brag, but there was a few things that I said which were right. So, anyways, let's move on. It's not about me. It's about Napoli. So, anyways, let's go and talk about the sixth goal, because that was pretty much very similar to the third goal that we did, right? So, how is it similar? Because we start winning these aerial duels, which is a thing that Napoli was never good at, right? But we have this extra physicality, this extra desire. We have got a bit more spring in our step recently. So we start winning these aerial duels. We win the first ball here. We win the second ball there. And then the ball goes to Ndombele. And Ndombele, a bit like the third goal, just straight down the middle, right? Now Ajax don't have as much of a corridor for us to play the ball into. But, I mean, there's still a lot of space, right? And, I mean, credit to Ndombele here, and credit to Simeone, because it's a beautiful assist and it's a beautiful goal, right? Yeah, I mean, we could have had more. Elmas had this opportunity late in the game, and Ndombele also hit the crossbar. So guys, a lot happened, and you know, it could have been maybe 10 goals for Napoli, and I'm not exaggerating. ID Beats is in the house, man. I haven't seen ID Beats in the chat in months, man, and he's literally one of the, like, ID Beats is like subscriber number 3 or something. So I remember all your names if you've commented before or whatever, and like this guy was like top or like early 5. So I'm super happy when I see some of the OGs in here. There's other OGs in here like Vincenzo and all these guys. But you know, they come on they even come on the show now. Whereas, you know, some people, when I don't see them for a while, it's like, oh cool, they're back. He says it's 3:40, but I'm still hyped by this win to sleep. Been a bit busy with studies to tune into these lives, but as entertaining as ever, man. Yeah, I mean, I completely understand that, guys. Like 90% of my life now is pretty much like dedicated to schoolwork. I don't know. I was working before, I had the weekends free and all that, and now I'm back to being a student, and it's like, where's all my free time, guys? Like, I'm having to go to the gym at 6. Like, what's up with that? 6 in the morning. Like, yeah, crazy out there. It's crazy. Vincenzo says, we out here. Anthony says, I was your first sub ever. Actually, I was my own first sub. Yeah, shameful, but I was. So you must have been at least number 2. But don't take away first sub away from me. EJ Wise says, been a while, Dom. Used to join to cheer myself up after we lost, but now look at us. Smash that like button, guys. Thank you for the $5 donation, and I hope you're doing well, man. And yeah, I remember that when we used to lose under Spalletti or under Gattuso, you were there. That was some good therapy. Having you guys there when we were losing. Some of you guys that have just been joining recently don't know that feeling, don't know what those vibes were like, and I'm happy for you. I'm happy you're seeing the good sides now. But let's go on to the player ratings, because I know that this is the part that you guys love the most. You guys are just waiting, itching for me to get to this, right? So here you go, player ratings. It's in the title of the video every time, and every time this is what you're waiting for, so here it is, right? All right, I'm going to give my first ever 10 to Mr. Spalletti. I think I gave him once before, but it was one of those moments where I gave everybody a 10, right? Because, I don't know, I was feeling super happy or whatever. This is like actually legit ratings, and I'm giving him a 10 because he's been fantastic. He's not said anything out of place this whole summer. And I think 99% of the population would have thrown tables in press conferences and at De Laurentiis and all this stuff, and, you know, made all these stupid remarks about how, you know, how Conte said, oh, if you want to eat at a fancy restaurant, you can't show up with 10 euros, you know, like all these things about scaling down. Like, he didn't say anything like that. He was super professional during preseason. The team is playing better than last season. He is, I think, saying all the right things in the press conferences. He's motivating this team. He's giving them responsibilities. He's coaching them super. Like, you can tell that this team is being coached. Like, this is not a team that's winning because of individuals, like it was when Gattuso was around, right? When Gattuso was around, or even some of his early days at Napoli with Spalletti, you could tell that we were winning games because Osimhen pulled something out of the bag, because Lozano pulled something out of the bag, because Zielinski did something crazy. Like, no, this is a team that has a clear identity. Everybody knows their role. Everybody knows what they have to do. The distance between players is always the same. They're disciplined, and yeah, we've got that individual talent. Don't get me wrong, but we're putting these players in the best position to express their individual talents, right? And it's not just like before where it happened to be once in a game. Like, this is repeatedly. Like, Lozano repeatedly put in incredible crosses. Kvara repeatedly gets opportunities to get inside the box and do what he has to do, right? So this is because of the fact that we play so well. And I think it wasn't easy to, keep the motivation high after this summer. I don't think it was easy to do anything after this summer with this team, and he's doing an amazing job, like actually an amazing job. So yeah, congrats to him, and the subs have been good. I think the only game he screwed up this season was Lecce, when he made 1 million subs, or before the game, like he made 1 million changes. Other than that, he's been great. So fully deserved 10 for Spalletti. I don't think anyone can deny that. Let's see what you guys are saying about some of the other players. All right. There's a lot of debate here. Meret has 1 goal quota. Give that man some credit, says RBZ. All right. Here's the thing about the 6.5. The 6.5 is that I don't think Ajax put like 6.5 is still good. It's still like above average. Like, remember, average is 6. Like an average day where you're just like, I played like meh is a 6, right? 6.5 is like, yeah, it was good. It's like when you go home and like, yeah, it was good, right? I think it was good. It wasn't like, oh yeah, it's an awesome game. It's my best, it was good. I mean, I think he had a few bad passes, so there's that. I don't think he pulled off some like incredible saves. Yeah, a few times he pushed the ball away or whatever, but I mean, I'm not gonna give him something crazy for just like it was good, So yeah, I mean, that's just my opinion. I think a 7 is when you start making like a few really important saves and stuff like that, and I just don't think that was the case, right? Mean says Zanoli deserves a 7 for me. Now, he played well. He played really well. But for me, I think Zanoli, the only issue I have with giving him a 7 is that as a defender, right? He came on as a right back. As a defender, to get, I think, a 7, you need to show a bit of like defensive work as well. And Ajax just wasn't attacking anymore. He came on when Ajax was already in 10 men. So I try to keep all those things in consideration, right? Like if you play against 11 and then you play against 10, you're a little bit more penalized if you're playing, if you do the nice stuff when it's like 10 versus 11, because you kind of expect it, right? You kind of expect them to do well. So 6.5, and it's not like he had a goal or assist or something. Whereas Di Lorenzo, on the other hand, he had a goal. He was all over the place. He was man of the match for me, 100%. His was the most important goal, the 2-1. I think he captained very well. When there was the time to go and protest against the referee, he did it. And I think this guy is like born to be captain, right? I think Insigne was born a Neapolitan, right? But not necessarily born a captain. Di Lorenzo is the type of guy who's born a captain. Like, he's the type of guy that, like, you want to follow his example. He's a proper professional. Lewis C says, Lozano played really well today. Honestly, if he stays in this form, he's a top player. So much hate. Why not more positivity? Says Lewis. I don't know who Lewis is talking about, though, because I gave Lozano an 8, which is really, really good. Maybe his best rating this season. Same as Kvara, and Kvara scored. So you can see here, like, even though Kvara scored, I still gave Lozano the same rating, because I think Lozano, the amount of potential assists he gave was unreal. Obviously, Raspadori, 2 goals, gets an 8.5. I think he did really well for the goals. He also super instrumental for the third goal. I couldn't really give him more than an 8.5 because I wanted Di Lorenzo to be man of the match, and I didn't want to bump Di Lorenzo higher than a 9. I think that would have been exaggerated. The rest of the defense, I think, did really well. Super disciplined, and 8, and the whole midfield 8. They did super well. I put Anguissa as a 9. Yeah, Anguissa, because he's the key right now. He holds the key for the midfield, him and Lobotka, but he was pressing, he was instrumental for the third goal. I think he was all over the place. He instrumental for the fourth. I think in every goal, Anguissa played a part, right? Which is, I think, something that no other player can actually say. And then the subs came on really well. Like Ndombele hit the crossbar. He assisted Simeone. Simeone scored a goal. Elmas came on really nicely. Almost had a goal for himself as well. Like he was like this close to scoring. Gaetano and Zanoli, again, they came on. They did well, but they came on like super late in the game. Like the game was really done by then. Napoli really chilled the last 15. Could have been 8 or 9-1. Yeah. Luisi says, the thing is, Napoli is not experienced in knockout stages. You have teams like Real Madrid, Bayern, even Barcelona, who are experts in knockout stages. Just one bad game, and we can be out in a knockout stage. Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, I don't think this team was, to be fair, experienced in group stages, right? Like this is the first time Kvara, Raspadori, Anguissa, Oliveira, Kim, Rahmani play the Champions League. That's 70% of this team, right? If we look at the bench, Simeone, Gaetano, Zanoli, like all these guys, it's the first time that they're playing Champions League football. So even the group stage is completely new to them. So yeah, the knockout stage is more intense, it's harder, and all that. But I think we should try to aim for quarterfinals this year at least. I think we should at least try to win that, especially if we finish first in the group. I think we should try to, at least win that first knockout game. And if we get into the quarterfinals, that's already huge for us. Top 8 in Europe, first time in a long, long time. So yeah, that'd be amazing. What do we do if Anguissa gets injured? Says Ebbe C. Jordovic. I mean, I don't know. I guess we would play Ndombele in his position for a while. Maybe even Demme. Maybe Gaetano. Maybe Elmas. I think we've got options. Obviously, Anguissa is the key. But I think we would still do well. We'd struggle a little bit more, but it's not like the whole thing will collapse, right? Brian says, Dom, do you follow Yolanda De Rienzo? She's my second favorite Napoli YouTube channel. No clue what she's saying, but she's awesome. I didn't know. I don't know who this Yolanda is, bro. Let's see. Let's Google. Let's YouTube this person. Yolanda De Rienzo. Let's see. I've got a hit. Oh yeah, she's like a talk show person in Italy. Yeah, I know who she is. But I think she says stuff in Italian, right? So yeah, I don't know. I thought it was like some like English speaking person that I could collab with, but yeah, I mean I could always collab anyways, but it wouldn't really be for you guys. At that point it would just be for me. Just be for me, right? I mean, I can speak to her. You might not understand, but hey, that sounds like your problem, not mine. Anyways, Vesavia says, Di Lorenzo made a few defensive mistakes and a couple of bad passes in the first 20 minutes. For me, that's what gives man of the match to Raspadori. Yeah, I see your point. I see it. But I don't know. Like, I don't know. I think the fact that he doesn't score very often is his like first goal in a year. I guess some of these ratings are always a bit emotional, right? This is not a science. This is kind of my gut feeling and a little bit what I want what I want to promote as well, right? So if I feel like I really want to promote Di Lorenzo today because it's his first goal in a year, and you know the way he behaved as a captain and all that, it just every other thing just kind of goes out the window, right? Which is I know it's not great, but it is what it is. But I take your point. I think, but it is still between them two, right? Let's see, right, guys. So I want to talk about some of the stats here because it's kind of crazy, right? But why is this in Spanish again? Anyways, I mean, look at the amount of possession that we had. Obviously, completely skewed by the fact that we had 11 versus 10 for a bit of the game, but 26 shots against 8 against this Ajax team, who is a team known for playing attacking football. But the crazy thing here is when you read faltas, that means fouls in Spanish, in Espanol, and 21 faltas for Ajax and 4 for Napoli. Like, I can't remember an Ajax team having to play this dirty, having to try to break down play this much, because the team is just outplaying them, right? They had just no composure and control of the game. We completely destroyed them. And if we take a look at the standings, we see that we have 9 points. Ajax slipped to third, and Liverpool, after beating Rangers, go into second. Now, I don't even know what Liverpool did. Let's go check out their game. They won 2-0 against Rangers. Mo Salah penalty and Trent Alexander-Arnold goal. I like the fact that Trent scored. I think he's getting a lot of hate for his defensive work, and so it's nice that he gets a goal. Yeah, I think you can see here that Liverpool dominated, a lot of shots, a lot on target, a lot of possession. I think Rangers with only 6 fouls, I think they could have given Liverpool a harder time. I think they had way more fouls against us. So yeah, I mean, I think Rangers could have done a bit more. Even without seeing the game, I can kind of infer that. But yeah, I mean, if Napoli, let's say Liverpool beat Rangers again in the next one, and Napoli beat Ajax, right? Then we would go to 12 points. Liverpool go to 9. Ajax and Rangers remain at 3 and 0. At that point, us having 12 points and Ajax only 3, we would qualify. Now, if we draw that game, then we go to 10. Ajax goes to 4. Technically, with 6 points still available, they could still reach 10 points like us. But, I mean, their goal difference compared to ours is really, really bad. So they would have to make up 13 goals compared to us in the next 2 games. So pretty much, even with a draw in the next game, Napoli are through. Then it's between us and Liverpool about who's going to actually end up being first in the group, right? But it's super important to keep winning against Ajax, or at least drawing against Ajax, then getting at least a win against Rangers, right? So that at least when we do play Liverpool, we can even play for a tie potentially, right? Let's see when the next Champions League game for us is. It's obviously Ajax, but then the one after that is end of October against Rangers, and then we have Liverpool 1st of November. Easy stuff, guys. And these are our next games, just in order. We've got Cremonese with the super crazy logo, and then we've got Ajax Bologna, a week break, and then Roma. There is another donation, which is you guys are so nice, from Toleo Foa. And he's a Nigerian supporter, but living in New Zealand, if I remember correctly. See, I know you guys. Thank you so much for the $9 donation. Forza Napoli. Have a good day, Dom. Best Napoli channel. Osimhen, Raspadori, or Simeone to start. I think Osimhen still a bit early, right? I think he wasn't even in the bench today. So against Cremonese, I still expect either Simeone or Raspadori. Maybe gives Raspadori a bit of a break and play Simeone. Then Ajax, I would just go with the same formation as we did today. Like just it worked. Get another 3 points, hopefully, maybe, and then bring Osimhen in as a bench player here and there, and maybe in the next 2 games, and maybe start him against Bologna, right? I think it's definitely something really cool if we have all 3 of them available for the big game against Roma, and all 3 of them playing well. It could give us a lot of options in the second half as the game goes on, in case we need them, right? Another Domenico is on the chat. Domenico Campitelli says, "You would have never thought Napoli so strong in the Champions League." Yeah, no chance, right? I mean, 4 goals against Liverpool, 3 goals against Rangers, 6 against. I mean, for me, the most crazy one is this one: 6 against Ajax. It's more crazy than Liverpool because this is away from home. I mean, Liverpool, yeah, that's also crazy, but okay, at home, Liverpool not doing so well, like, it can happen, right? But 6 away from home? Doesn't happen very much. Thanks for remembering, Dom. Love your work, says TT. Hope you are all well, Dom. Congrats on the big win, says Ben Payne. Miss you, man. Ben is a Liverpool fan, so like just bully him right now, all of you. I just want you to bully Ben. No, I'm kidding. He's a friend of mine. Don't do that. I don't know if YouTube's gonna like now just completely demonetize me because I said the B word. Because I don't want to get demonetized. Anyways, Visavia says, going to be at Napoli Ajax. So happy to have chosen that game. I think it'll be amazing. Yeah, that's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be full crowd. I think people are excited to watch Napoli now. Champions League nights are incredible. Trust me. It's going to be good. And yeah, that's amazing that you get to go. I don't know how often you get to go. Probably maybe not that much because I don't think you live in Italy. I think you I know where you live, but I'm not going to say it because I don't know, privacy reasons, I guess. But yeah, it's a good little trip to go there for a Champions League game. Anyways, guys, I mean, there's still a lot of you connected. So I'm going to take this as an opportunity to go and see what Spalletti had to say for this game, right? You guys are loving this live, so we continue. All right. So let's see what Spalletti had to say today for this game, because he's probably super happy. So let me put Spalletti's big head up here. Let's see what he had to say, and I'm going to translate. So let's go. Let's see. They ask him, has this been the best international game for you? And he says, look, man, I received 7 goals against Manchester United many years ago. So, in comparison, this is amazing. But more than the result, I really like the performance that this team gave, and also the awareness that this team has of their quality. These guys deserve a lot of merit, and they play an important type of football in the eyes of everybody, or for everybody to see. Everybody is participating, and there's obviously people that play 60 minutes, other people that play 30, but everybody has to play a part. Simeone and Raspadori, they're both doing extremely well. We also want Osimhen to come back, but who knows who's going to be starter, right? When Osimhen comes back, it will be a real problem for me, he says. But they need to understand that there is going to be space for everybody. This is a team and not individuals. Everybody, around the world knows these guys already. There's no need for them to want to have one more goal or assist compared to the other player. What they need to do is that they need to play for the team, and they need to defend and help out Rahmani, Kim, and Meret as well. They can't just think about going forward. They say, no one has ever done a result like this in the past. What's the secret behind it? And he says to have the right ethics, to go strong in practice, even if practice is only for half an hour, like the one that we had yesterday. They played extremely well, and even Maradona would be happy and proud of them today. I don't know why he sprinkled that in there, but okay. They ask him about the percentages of, how likely is it that Napoli is going to qualify out of the group, and he says with this victory here, we have really good chances, but we need to, make sure that we get the other results. What we have to realize, though, is that we actually made these results against really good teams, that all these teams in the group are big clubs with beautiful stadiums, it's a great city, great restaurants, and a lot of people that work. Spalletti sometimes goes off tangent, like worse than me, guys. He's now talking about restaurants and people that work. I don't know what this guy's saying. Anyways, he says, let's see, they ask him another question because he keeps going out of topic. And they say, you created something completely different compared to what a traditional Italian team offers. Is this a lesson for other coaches? And he says, listen, I give no lessons to nobody. There's obviously, this team has obviously, though, reached a level that we don't want to ever drop from this level ever again, right? And we hope to keep this level going forward. And they ask him, do you think this team has more individual quality or more team quality? And he says, it's always a mix of the two. But if the team doesn't work, then it becomes difficult even for the individual players to really express themselves. We have extremely important qualities as a team and also as individuals. Lozano and Kvara, they sacrifice themselves for the team defensively. Kvara is the type of player that apologizes when he doesn't pick out the right pass. But he's so good that he can do what he likes. That's pretty much it, right? He talks about the team playing super well, the team being really cohesive, the enthusiasm is there, the right quality, the level is there. So he just goes on and on about this sort of stuff. What's really interesting is maybe seeing what Raspadori had to say. So I know that Spalletti's head is still showing on the graphics. I don't have a graphic for every single player, but it's Raspadori speaking now, and he says that Spalletti gives him a lot of trust. He showed that he wants me at all costs. The club wanted me at all costs, and that was really important for me. I'm in the condition to express myself in the best possible way, and we need to continue to do this and play for each other. The objectives of this season is to just keep growing as a team, and the results will continue to come. We need to help the team out. We need to help the next teammate out, and and if we do that, then we're gonna get results. So no one is saying that they're gonna win the Scudetto, that we're gonna win the Champions League, that we're gonna do this, that, and the other. They're just saying, look, if we keep playing like we've been playing, then we've got a good shot. All right. So, and I think that's the right approach. It's not that they're not ambitious. It's just there's no need to like hype it up more than you really need to. Let's see, guys. Like, I'm gonna take 3 more comments, and then we're gonna call it a day because, as I said like a million times, I gotta hit the gym tomorrow morning, super early, which is not fun. Louis C says, so many Napoli fans in America now. I'm buying my second Napoli jersey. Which one? Let me know. Yeah, guys, let me know what jersey you guys like the most. Obviously, like after we release maybe like 10 of them this season, I'm gonna start ranking them, which is super cool. It's a super cool video to do. Hopefully I find the time. Spalletti is gonna be high as a kite in 30 minutes. The guy, I think he's already high, like when he speaks, like in post-match conferences, especially after wins. He just derails completely and gets super poetic and but no, he's a poet. Napoli says, hope Napoli Ochos gives Spalletti his fiat back. Imagine like he wins the Scudetto and they were like, okay, now here you go. It's like, this is still not enough. We're still keeping that fiat hostage. Garrett Reviews, thank you for the $5 donations. What shirt do you think is better to buy, Halloween Napoli or our home kit? I think our home kit is beautiful. It's got the little ends imprinted on it, which I think is crazy, crazy nice. The Halloween kit is unique. It's special, but I don't know, the one, our main one is just beautiful. We've never had a shirt, a home shirt that is so unique. I think it's the most unique and still nice looking home shirt that we've had. Wow, Kim Nyang Kun with a 10,000 won donation. I don't know if is that a won? I don't know. Forgive me saying A16. So A16 was the people that wanted De Laurentiis gone, and it's the highway that connects Napoli to Bari, which is the second club that De Laurentiis family owns. Forgive me for saying A16. I'm one of the fans even before Kim comes here, so he's South Korean, I assume. But I'm very proud of this team. It's strong enough to explain people in Korea. Also, I love your channel and work. Forza Napoli sempre. Beautiful comment, man. And we've got Kim. We've got Kim in the house, man. Maybe not the Kim, but we've got a Kim in the house, which is super cool. No, but yeah, it's awesome that you supported Napoli even before. I'm sure now that there's going to be a huge growth of Napoli awareness in places like Georgia and South Korea. When Osimhen starts playing again for us, when he starts scoring the big goals, all of Nigeria is going to come in as well. It's going to be little pieces of Napoli everywhere in the world. It's going to be super cool. Let's see. Let's see. One more comment. Yes, how many different jerseys does Napoli have this season? So I think we already have 4 this season, excluding the goalkeeper ones. I think we're going to reach 10, I think. Anyways, guys, I think I'm going to wrap that up. Guys, now's your chance to smash that like button, especially if you followed for more than like 10 minutes. Smash that like button, subscribe. It's been a good chat. It's been a good game. Nice little tennis match, that we won 6-1 this set. I don't know when the second set is. Actually, it's in a week time. Napoli Ajax play again in a week. So we do know when the second set is. Yeah, guys, super happy that we won. Super happy that we're playing well. Super happy that you guys joined the chat. And as always, guys, have a great day. And Forza Napoli sempre. Ciao.